Hello. It is I. Here for more Tyranny. I hope you're all staying cool. It's about to get hot. It's about to get hot in here. Like, what is it? 30 degrees Celsius? Now what are we doing?
Will do.
I built a forge. Sigil of piercing. Oh. Did I not read this before? I don't recognize this. The symbol message is scrawled in big letters, likely for the comprehension of the recipient. Send armor-making lady to me. Below the text, you see a crude stick figure drawing of what you think is the voices in Narat in front of a forge-bound smith. Forge-bound's arms are tied together while a couple of chorus soldiers stand behind her with weapons drawn. Okay. Are they talking about my forge lady? Where's that note that I just picked up? Oh, the scroll. Oh. Here I thought I was going to play the game, but instead we're going to be spending another 2 hours crafting spells. Starting to feel like Harry Potter. I want someone to rewrite the Harry Potter books, but like instead of just the exciting parts, all the boring, just mind-numbing magical routine that they had to do, just to show how boring magic can be when you really get into it. What would be something to add piercing to? Tidal burst. Oh no, I want rooted. Has to be something that actually attacks. Concussive bolt. This also has rooted. What's the range? 10 meters. I don't think any of his spells should have piercing because he is usually in the front lines. Healing wisps can have a. You can have piercing on healing wisps. However, that's gonna cost way too much lore. But that's cool. So I could heal multiple people at once. But I need to get rid of 30 worth of lore. This is 10. This is 10. It's 20. So I'd have to get rid of this. Sigil of Strength raises from 4% to 6%. However, if I do this one, I could potentially get a line of them, which would be a total of 12% all around. It's a tough choice. It's a very tough choice. I think overall, though, it's probably better these tiny bolts of life. How many bolts are there? Doesn't really say, but I think it's worth it. Better that I can heal more. Oh, yes. Welcome, Ultimus. 1 downtime day for Timia, as requested. Can I change any other things? No. No. That already has something. What's this? Electric jolt. Well, she's not going to be able to add anything. I don't have enough for this. So this one has rooting. So that'll keep him from moving. 10 to 17. I don't know, maybe rooting and dazed. Maybe there's no. Maybe it's less important to have rooting and dazed on the same effect. What does this one do? Whereas this one is also rooting and dazed. Tidal burst, concussive bolt. Oh, but this is an area of effect. So this probably can't have. No, it can't have the line. Damn, it would be so cool if we could have both. But getting a line of enemies to be dazed, as opposed to rooted. I can't decide. Well, actually, this one I won't be able to get it on anyways, because even if I get rid of that, yeah. So I guess I can't add it to anything right now. Oh well. I was sick on myself the first time. I used the teleporter. I don't think I'll ever get used to it. Can I forge stuff? Select a weapon or armor from your inventory to upgrade. Armor's important. Oh, this is way too expensive. So what would it do? It'd go from superior to exquisite. So add 1 armor. It's still going to be vulnerable to crush and frost, but it'll have extra fire. An extra 4 fire and arcane. And the recovery is less. I need 3 forge recruits. How many do I have? And I'm also going to need iron ingots. Gosh. The game's too complicated. Maybe there's something else I can upgrade. My hammer? Oh, no, it's also extremely expensive. I need a weapon. I need another weapon for her. Can I wish... I feel like when you're in your camp, you should be able to select between all of your party members. So I can just take the items that they have.
A second spire has awoken to your presence. This is fascinating, and I admit enviable. If it turns out your connection to the spires invites death and woe, my jealousy might wane a bit. I've been mulling over that structure we found atop Vendrian's well. Would you be opposed to me studying the sculpture in closer detail? I'd perhaps work a spell or two near the structure. Simple cantrips of gravelight by which to read and inspect, but I will not poke or shove the thing in any way physical or mystical.
You don't need to ask my permission.
Thank you. Next time we have a good moonlit night, I'd best settle in and see what sort of magic perturbations I can sense from the sculpture.
Is that a bad thing? Do I want her to be afraid of me?
What is it you need?
Well, I don't actually have need of your skills. I just need of your items.
Of course. It's about time to stretch the old sea legs.
So
Goodbye to you too.
Oh, screw you. She's level 8. He's still only level 7. She's still only level 6? Gosh. Okay. So you have arcane damage. This also has the entertainer. Oh, it adds to performance. Okay, so she's gonna want to equip this most of the time. This is Frost, which she does extra. This does Arcane, damn. That does not actually help me at all. And only she can equip this one. I mean, I guess I could give her the Frost one. I might as well give her the Frost one. She should have something else. Oh, hello, Seagull. You may redeem your 1 downtime day. But I'll keep her with this weapon equipped. Okay. Maybe I should talk to her. Ebb nods at your approach and offers a curt bow.
What is it you need?
I have some questions for you.
Ask away.
I'd like to ask you about our travel companions. She nods silently, awaiting your follow-up. What do you make of Siren?
We've all heard legends of child archons, but Siren is the real thing. She's so very jaded for her age. But I'd be a sour ninny shitter too if I had a contraption stuck on my head limiting my greatness. I'll tell you this much. Her hatred of the voices of Narad is either genuine or a most fantastic act. But being a giant liar, I know another liar when I see one. And I'd wager this gripe is sincere.
I'm well aware that she may have already said something to me to make me more comfortable with her presence. And if she did, how would I know if she's influencing me or not? If she's playing me, I applaud how well she's doing it. Okay,
Ask
well,
away.
that's all there is to it then.
As you wish.
Yes.
Let's talk to Barik.
And so, civil war divides the armies of mighty Kairos. The reckoning that comes of this failure will be great indeed. We find ourselves in the darkest times. Brothers and sisters who fought for a similar cause now skewer each other over blighted lands in the favor of distant powers.
What would you have done at Vendrian's Well?
Backing the disfavored was the only logical choice. Graven Ash is the only Archon worthy of your confidence, and you were wise to recognize as much. Naturally, I would have done the same.
Well, that's not too surprising.
Whatever others might say about what happened in Vendrian's Well, you acted from instinct. I can't help but respect that.
I have some questions for you before we move on.
What can I do for you?
Let's discuss some immediate concerns. What do you think about traveling companions? What do you think of... Oh, he says, I am more accustomed to traveling in the company of soldiers, so I'm out of practice judging the worth of civilians and miscreants. If you had anyone in particular in mind, I will give them some thought. What do you think of Lantry? I do not know how many years he has walked the face of Tyranny, but he clearly knows more than he claims to. Since he claims to know a great deal indeed, there is no limit to what he could be holding back. And what do you think of Ebb? She is as opinionated and talented as she is vulgar. Much as we can disagree on the reasons behind this war, I have never found a more impressive example of a tearsman. I admit to also finding her quite striking. Whenever she makes a jab at me, or Kairos, or the Legion, in spite of whatever I might say in my defense, I am pleased to have captured her interest. But I would not have her know my thoughts on the matter. She is a southern savage, after all, and I a decorated soldier. No need to overcomplicate our feelings in a time of war. What do you think of Siren? She is complicated and volatile even by an Archon's standards. Kairos took a significant risk by inviting Siren into the hierarchy. It would have been simpler to kill her than risk unleashing her power upon Tyranus. Yet I am glad that Siren is with us. She brings innocence and dignity to a conflict that too often lacks either quality. Where is other lady? Oh, what's this? Nice. Wait, all this iron is just lying here and yet they're asking me for more iron? They're scam artists. Verse. Our gang is building quite the little collection of spires, aren't we? The voice of Narat was never one for keeping strongholds, but I can definitely see the appeal. What do you think of these spires? They're big, but make no mistake. A determined army could knock one down if they got enough shovels and picks together. Don't be so quick to assume that you're invincible. As to what they are, I try not to ask those sorts of questions. Why doesn't the Voices like strongholds? Because there's no point in standing still. The Voices prefers to keep his forces busy and on the move, with the only restful hours between dusk and dawn. Besides, fighters in motion are less likely to rise up and challenge authority. Safety in numbers. But once you get people hunkering down to discuss their problems, suddenly everyone has a reason to kill the closest gang boss.
What do you need?
Have I already talked to her about...
What did you have in mind?
Yeah, I think I already talked to her about... Oh, right, no,
At your service, Fatebinder.
First bows with an added flourish.
What do you need?
I find myself in need of an accomplished killer.
Point me in the right direction. I'll cut down whatever I find in my path.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry,
I'll
Ed,
tack
but
homeward. See you there.
you're just not cool enough for the party. I want to have all of them in the party, though. I want to just have a fun time. Killing and laughing.
I see you there.
It's a little disconcerting. Bronze, yay. Is she really still only level 6? How is that even possible? Oh, I can customize her armor? Oh, yeah, so it changes the color of their armor based on their own personal pattern. So what should I make him? Do white and green. Well, I guess he doesn't have primary armor because he's topless. Oh, that will do. Let's see, he's purple and brown, I guess? Oh, it doesn't look like he's had anything selected. She's blue, I'm guessing. I'm blue and gold. She's red and black. I like red and black for her. Oh wait, did it not save? Oh no, it didn't. Okay. Branding is very important. Very important part of ruling. Even from this height, the Portiscore River is vast and expansive. I guess there's nothing else for me to do here. Oh, can I talk to this person? I also seem to have another menu option. The tiers look quite peaceful from the clouds. Okay, no, that's something new. This is the map. Can I make any upgrades? I already built the forge. Oh, this already has something? Okay, I see. So the forage is, it's basically just the rest bonus that you get. Resting in any spire grants bonus armor, parry, and dodge. Okay. Plus a bonus to all skills. Trainer teaches one-handed weapons, two-handed weapons, dual wield, parry, and dodge. Skilled trainer who teaches one-handed weapons, two-handed weapons, dodge, and athletics. It's almost the exact same. Armored attacks, parry, dodge, and subterfuge, and I think I did recently resupply, so I should be good for items. Does anyone need healing potions? No. These should go into my spire inventory. Why isn't it going into my spire? Is there anything else that can go in there? Hide. Oh, discoveries.
See that? We should take a closer look.
Sorry, I can't.
What is this? Ancient bronze sword. Is this better than his? It's better DPS, better recovery, less accuracy, less armor penetration. Oh wait, well that's his other weapon. Yeah, he should. This one's pierce, this one's slash and pierce, so yeah, I think this is much better. So he's got a good pierce and good. He's got all the damages. We're good to go. And it looks cool. What is this? Which is the better item? 17 to 23. 3.39 DPS, and this is less DPS. Yeah, so he should stick with this one. This one has more accuracy though, but that's not as important for him. What am I even doing right now? Primary quest, Voice of Kairos. Oh no, so Seats of Power. So I have to claim all these spires, but I don't know where they are, so I guess that leaves me to go speak with Tunon. Tunon awaits your return to his court in the Bastard City. Should I bring anyone specific? I don't think anyone, Ebb or Barrack, have any specific relationship to Tunon, so I'm gonna say no. Should we just go straight there? Might as well. Oh god. I hope I've prepared everything properly. Let's do. Oh, I see. We can teleport between the spires. Oh, you know what? I did forget to rest. I was gonna rest in the spire to get the bonuses. I guess I'll just die then. Oh, he's got a spire rest bonus. Why? +5 to all skills. Why don't the others? Or does it just not say them? That's weird.
On it.
Where's our party formation? That looks good. Lady Lucretius. This well-dressed older woman stands apart from the milling crowds of nobles. She stares off into the distance, oblivious to your approach, until you're right in front of her. Oh, greetings. She offers a reserved smile. And a Lucretius, formerly of Thistleholm. You have the look of someone who belongs here. A fate binder, no doubt? She nods. Do you need something from me? What are all these nobles doing in Tunon's court? She smirks and shakes her head. Trying to look brave, I warrant. But if you crane an ear to any of their conversations, you'll hear a different tale. 3 years since Tunon set up shop in the bastard city. We're still getting used to our new masters, and figuring out what we can and can't ask of them. She nods to the assembled nobles. These are smart, ring-plenty folk. The way they approach Tunon, you'd think they were raised under a tyrant's lash. Some have come to settle a grievance, others to pledge fealty. I've been standing around long enough to know that the adjudicator doesn't care for empty gestures. How has the bastard city fared since the conquest? Kairos' forces took the city as we expected them to, without mercy or restraint. The Scarlet Corps spilled more blood than we had to give. We've suffered our share of hardships, but it seems that Kairos wants us alive. That's a more generous outcome than some of us were led to believe. What brings a noble like yourself to Tunon's court? A frown cracks her pleasant demeanor. Like the rest of the frightened inbreds here, I came to see Tunon and ask him to right a wrong. My manor was destroyed during the conquest. I told the adjudicator my woes, but we didn't exactly see eye to eye. Tell me of yourself. I'm the daughter of a noble house. We were wealthy enough to live in the city, but our means beyond that were limited. My mother dealt in fish, textiles, and bronze. By the time I inherited, the business was taking care of itself. She sighs. Of course, all of that has changed. Thistleholm is no more, and my name has none of its former weight, even if we were still in business. Kairos' laws would stifle our trading rights. Perhaps it's better this way. Hey, Spectre, thank you for the happy birthday. Disturbing ads. Oh, I hope nothing too crazy. Honestly, if you figure out how to turn off ads completely, besides just canceling my affiliate status, let me know, because, yeah, I hate them. They're really annoying, but I prefer them at the beginning rather than interrupting the middle. But yes, thanks for the happy birthday wishes. It is actually my birthday today if you ignore traditions and customs in regards to birthdays. There are, well, yes, I guess if you sub. So one more reason to sub. No, but still, honestly, I wish nobody had to watch them because it's pointless. I make like 2 cents. It's not worth it. But anyhow, I hope you're well. Oh, and also thanks for sending me that emoticon, that emoji. It looks awesome. It looks like a very let me bring it. He looks very like nervous. Like, I don't know what your little plague doctor has been up to, but they seem a little nervous or rather shocked about something. But it's awesome. Yes, feel free to spam chat as much as you want with all of the emotes. Oh, I see. And you actually did. Oh, it's his crow. Okay. Yeah, it I thought it was different, but I assumed because the other ones were all plague doctors that this is a different one. Oh, well, it's a very nice, gentle, extremely nervous crow. And it is welcome here. We're just playing some Tyranny. It is an isometric RPG if you haven't seen this before. It's very difficult, and I'm playing on permadeath, so if I die, it will completely just erase the save. In fact, it'll probably just uninstall the game from my computer. I think games should do that more. Just like if you lose at the game, it not only deletes your save, it uninstalls the game, and then it removes the game from your game library, and then it just like bans you from ever playing it again. Just so that like you really, just to force people to really take it seriously. Oh, and so we have some extra info about this What does this mean? Among other things, Kairos' laws of quota and sharing meticulously regulates tradable goods. Permits are issued to deserving merchants on an annual basis, but their allowances circulate by a design known only to Kairos and Tunon. A former wool peddler may be restricted to selling only copper, in the subsequent year trade fish, vegetables. They have a very strict control on trade. This is not a free trade society. So a little summary, we are the bad guys. We just invaded this country, or a number of different countries, and we've now subjugated them into our empire. But we're just following orders. We're not the bad guys. We are just doing what we're told. If anything, we're the victims here. And now we're going to see our boss, and hopefully he's happy with us. What is Thistleholm? A great sigh deflates her. It was my family's ancestral hall. The oldest stones dated back to the years when the bastard city was not but a dozen roofs and wagons clustering for warmth. Compared to the houses of the great lords, it was nothing special. Age had softened the wood, and its queer placement in the warehouse district set it apart from the finer grounds where lords and ladies strolled for amusement. It was a mess, but our mess, all the same. I would invite you over for tea, something stronger even, but it would only disappoint. You'll find naught there but a gaping hole. What happened? Collateral damage happened. When the adjudicator cast his judgment on the bastard city, he destroyed the districts of the corrupt merchant kings, their manors, their counting houses, and yes, their warehouses. Aged, dignified Thistleholm collapsed as a massive sinkhole opened under her foundation. The bastard city's laws may not have been perfect by Kairos' standards, but my family followed them with respect, and never took a copper ring more than we deserved. I can't help but feel that my estate was not the criminal Tunon had in mind during his sentencing. So, what are you going to do next? That's the question, isn't it? I appealed to the adjudicator, thinking he would see reason. After considering my case for all of 8 seconds, he awarded me a belt of rings and a plot of land on the outskirts of the city. Tunon told me to build anew and start farming. Farming? Can you believe that? She shakes her head. It's not even that I'm opposed to the labor, but we're in a war. I can't have the Scarlet Chorus breathing down my neck, raiding my crops, and Kairos knows what else. So Tunon is our boss, and Kairos is our boss's boss. We pretty much have to do what they say. But I like that it does give us some wiggle room to be nice. But it won't let you just straight up betray. At least not yet. You can't straight up betray them. Now, if I say this, then Verse will not be happy with me, because she used to be one of them. I'm just gonna say the most impartial thing, which is usually what I do. Tunon's word is Kairos' law, whether you think it fair or not. Gain favor with Tunon. Don't I know it, she huffs, meaning no disrespect to you or your office. I never questioned the power of Tunon's word. I come from a long line of smart, ring-savvy merchants, but even I can reconcile Tunon's justice with Kairos' law. There's something wrong about it all. Maybe Tunon knows something that I don't. Or maybe... She trails off, shaking her head in doubt. What do you mean? Excuse me? People come here for justice. They usually get a version of it, but it's Tunon's version, not theirs. Half of the time, they don't even get what they wanted out of a ruling in their favor. She shakes her head. The deed to a farm, for instance. Not to put my own ignorance on display, but if more people knew how Kairos' laws worked, they might not come here seeking a ruling at all, even a fair one. Tunon is a servant of law, but he's the overlord's vassal as much as any of us. Sometimes it seems like he uses his position to twist everything in the Empire's favor. We're just pieces on a board, and he can move us wherever the law justifies that we stand. And that doesn't sound, well, legal. Ooh. How much is my silence worth to you, ungrateful one? We're not gonna be that bad. I can only endeavor to bring true justice to the Tears. At least one of Kairos' agents has their heart in it. I'm still holding out hope that the Tears are left standing after this war, and that Kairos' peace makes something great of us. A lady can hope, can't she? Farewell, Fatebinder. Be well. Okay, it's good to get to know my constituents. Kairos is standard, an imposing sight for both conquered and unconquered alike. So yeah, Kairos basically rules the entire world. But this is like the last shred of world that is not ruled. Any petitioners that displease Tunon would meet their fate in the pits below the court. Okay. Just watch out for this. It looks like we have some members of the Disfavored and members of the Scarlet Chorus, and there's probably going to be a big argument, and I'm probably going to have to say something. Oh, and there's my boss. Let's hope we've done a good job so far.
You call yourselves officers of Kairos' army, but your conduct falls short of my expectations. The court finds your accounts of Vendrian's well lacking, rife with misdirection and fallacy, fouled with baseless accusation.
The shadows beneath Tunon's cloak darken and flare around him. Murmurs of unease erupt in the court. I'm just gonna listen. Albatronus. Your Honor, I have relayed the events as I experienced them. You can well imagine why my version conflicts with his. She makes a dismissive gesture to the Scarlet Chorus representative. On my honor, and on that of the great general, I would sooner snap my sword than perjure myself before you, Archon. Oh, so you imply that falsehood comes easier to my lips than yours. You're a fool if you believe the Archon of Justice won't see through your lies because the Disfavored think themselves better than an honest gang.
Silence. The contradictions in your statements will be examined, and falsities threshed from truths. If we find you have perjured yourselves, Bled and Mark will see to your fate.
The Archon turns, and you feel his gaze upon you.
Fatebinder, we will start with the matter of the Archons. Graven Ash and the Voices of Nerat have declared war upon each other. In addition to violating Kairos' peace, they have thrown the conquest of the Tears into disarray. By all accounts, these hostilities began shortly after your arrival. Tell us what transpired.
I can just straight up say I wasn't there. I didn't see any of it. The whole game, none of that happened. That wasn't me. Oh. Through powers you can't begin to understand, the Voices of Nerat steals the minds and knowledge of his victims. You know this happened often during the campaign against the Tears. What he gains from this ability beyond his apparent madness is anyone's guess. You know better than to ask him about it directly. I mean, yeah, that was pretty fucked up. I think I'm gonna tattle on him. The Voices of Nerat may have killed Graven Ash's son, or worse.
Could this be true? The senseless killing of a good Northman, especially the Archon's blood kin, is no small act of war. The Voices of Nerat would answer for this crime.
Clearly, the Fatebinder has spent too much time resolving the problems of others. He sees only controversy and intrigue. It's no wonder that we're worse off now than before he arrived. The Archons have been of different minds since the start of this war.
Your perspective is appreciated, but the dispositions of the two Archons are already a matter of record. Loyal subjects of Kairos have drawn blood from each other, a cardinal crime. Something happened at Vendrine's Well to trigger this feud.
The Archons could not agree on who should lead the siege and descended into accusations of treachery. It seemed a mutual spat. The disfavored were more deserving of the honor. Our tactics and training outmatched the Vendrian Guard at every turn. With balderdash, the disfavored couldn't tip over a straw hut if they had a week to strategize. Our howling mob was better equipped to overwhelm the Vendrian Guard. Our recruits were ready to throw themselves at the enemy. If only Ash and his legion would agree to a plan.
The Fatebinder presents testimony. I warned you both against speaking out of turn. Something more than a mere disagreement unraveled this campaign. But I will return to that in time.
I don't like that they use the 3D animations for their talking when the character art is so much better. But I guess it's so that they can do like gestures and stuff.
Let us speak of Ascension Hall. The disfavored sing your praises across the realm, though the Scarlet Chorus appeal for charges of treason. Perhaps you can offer a more enlightened account.
I claim the Citadel with a small unit of disfavored.
An efficient solution, the type I would expect from a capable agent. Tell me though, with the edict looming overhead and death the price of failure, why not employ the numerical advantage of the Scarlet Chorus?
Yay, we're the boss's favorite. We're such a Dwight. The siege called for tactics and planning, not raw numbers. For a long while, the adjudicator hovers in silence, shadows trailing from below his robes. Does he not like this answer?
I will consider this testimony at length. The court thanks you for it. Is there anything you wish to add at this time?
I have told you all that I know.
Your testimony is accepted by the court. The statements of our guests raise questions in my mind. There is much about this campaign that has caused me to wonder. A shipment of iron weapons was short on arrival. Where coveted iron is concerned, I don't believe it to be a clerical error. One of my agents recovered this seal in Echo Call. It belongs to a merchant collective. Lethian's Crossing is teeming with their kind. If you would root out treachery, I would advise starting there.
I was just there.
Petitioners, leave us. I would have a private audience with the Fatebinder. Ascend and join me. You will find the way opened.
Ruh-roh. Oh, these are my buddies, my coworkers, Fatebinder Rogulus. We've talked. Fatebinder Rogulus. Fatebinder, you return. Rogulus looks you up and down with an inscrutable expression. You look as if you have questions for me to untangle. Ask. I am feeling generous. Generous. Sorry. I can't speak. Tell me about some of the past Archons. Much that was known has been lost regarding the first Archon of Frost, but his talents were improved upon by 3 following Archons, sisters born together and never since seen apart. It is said that Rana, Mirabelle, and Slayer were so cold at birth that they were thought stillborn. So there's 3 Archons of Frost. Sure, there's no has been lost during the first Archon of Frost, but his talents are improved. Okay. Where did you study when you were younger? This is how people have normal conversations, right? I've been a ward of the court for as long as I've been aware. As a child, I demonstrated wholly perfect recall, and I absorbed all that Tunon and my tutors had to offer. I remember hating all the lectures and whispering I could learn at my pace. Funny how I envied the sages of the Tears. How they could spend their whole lives reading and never exhaust their library. Of course, now the Vellum Citadel is nothing more than a burning waste. What do you think about the other Fatebinders? You'll need to be more specific than that, I'm afraid. There is, on last count, slightly more than a handful of us. What's your opinion of the Fatebinder of War? Known of all as keen, brash, and a hardy braggart with a fondness for bloodshed, he can be utterly unbearable at times. His justice is fair, even if he skews toward rather exacting and uncompromising punishments at times. What's your opinion of the Fatebinder of Balance? Callio is the finest among us. Her discernment is beyond reproach, and she is perhaps Tunon's favorite. She has a mind for suspicion and observation that makes others uneasy. We who operate within the confines of the law have nothing to fear, of course. What's your opinion of me? You follow an orderly path, regimented and organized, perhaps too orderly for our station. But that is neither here nor there if you execute your job with wisdom. Be sure you don't stray to the path of chaos. Down that way lies rebellion. Can you tell me about the old walls and the Bane? With which should I start? Tell me about the old walls. We know little enough about the ancient structures, save that they predate all historical record. Their forbidding ruins crisscross the tiers and north alike centuries before we raised our cities. The only one old enough to guess is likely Kairos. Tell me about the Bane. The Bane are found in the old walls, but much of their defining qualities still escape me. They are creatures of smoke, claw, and fang. If you find yourself unfortunate enough to fight one, remember that spells are effective against them, but grab the attention of others lurking near. Oh shit. Does that mean I should or shouldn't use spells? Probably spells will aggro. I guess that's what he's saying. I'd like to know more about the tiers. The political entities of the tiers are essentially split between the Bastard tier, the Younger Realms, and the Free Cities. Of which would you like to know? What can you tell me about the Bastard tier? The Bastard tier is the most northern of the tiers, and was the first to bow to Kairos' reign, though the knee they bent fell unwillingly. Kairos had his eye on the Bastard tier for many years before he marched on our capital city. This is the hub of trade and commerce. Claim the markets, and the people will follow. I'm curious to know more about the Younger Realms. The Younger Realms sprawl the middle and southernmost tiers and can be catalogued as follows: Apex, Azure, Haven, some call it, and Stalwart. Azure was renowned for its exceptionally fertile land, which fed the whole of the tiers. That was before Kyros's Edict of Stone blighted the land. Stalwart is also worth mention, for it comprises the whole of the southernmost tier, and proves the toughest and most defensible of the realms. It is often said that the other realms will not fall while Stalwart yet stands. The local army wages bitter war against the disfavored. Though the Edict of Storms has cut off the best of their defenses, it is only a matter of time before Stalwart falls. I would like to hear about the Free Cities. There are 3 free cities remaining: the Last Harbor, Spiral's Maw, and Barrison Chains. The first and strongest of the Free Cities was the Setting Sun, which Kairos crushed in 429 with the Edict of Tumult. After that, the remaining Free Cities were quick to surrender. I want to talk about the Sages. I'll not speak of the Sages. They are no better than charlatans and cons, wholly selfish in their ill pursuit to hoard all knowledge from others. They are self-blinded by their own deceptions and clever manipulations. They alone cause their own undoing, and are solely to blame for the burning library, one of the most grievous of wrongs in the known histories, for which they can never be forgiven. Rhombus, I see you've returned to the fold. Your exploits in Vendrain's Well are the matter of some discussion. The Fatebinder of Balance regards you with a discerning eye, and for a moment you feel as if she is trying to peer into the very depths of your mind. What can I do for you? Callio touches a gentle hand to your shoulder. Has anything happened while I was away? After you dispatched Cairn by burying him in stone, I was charged with investigating the circumstances that led to his betrayal. The Archon had ignored Graven Ash's orders and turned his back on Kairos for his own selfish pursuits. Rogulus wanted to take charge of the investigation, but I feared that whatever seduced Cairn away from his senses in Azure might corrupt our Rogulus as well. So I took the task upon myself instead. How have you occupied your time in the Bastard City? Tunon sends me on assignments here and there. I settle disputes between the locals when the adjudicator is otherwise occupied. She smirks. Everything from trade disagreements to pushing chorus squatters out of basements. Real rewarding work. She waves it off. The glory of war is not an honor reserved for the likes of us. We are the fish swimming in Tunon's wake, picking up scraps along the way. We're rather large and imposing compared to the bottom feeders of the tiers, but fish all the same. I'd like to know more about Tunon. Tunon is our overlord's fair and exacting adjudicator. He speaks with the voice of Kairos' law, and his word is judgment. All of this and more you can learn by asking him yourself. Go on. Or does he intimidate you still? She chuckles softly. I jest, of course. I have some concerns about the war. You are free to share them in my confidence. She leans in closer. Bloodshed and brutality reign supreme. Peace cannot follow such cruelty. Such is the price of conquest. We will bring order to a land ruled by greed and corruption. When we've shown them the true way of Kairos, the masses will weep their gratitude and beg for our favor. She nods to the assembled nobles in the entry hall. It has already begun. I'm going to get some more water, so I'll be right back. I have returned like a dragoon with ice water. Because we like it cold here.
I can't.
Oh wait,
yes.
No, there's one more guy. Fatebinder Nunaval. Ah, Rhombus, you return, unscathed and more acclaimed than ever, as seems to be your way. The Fatebinder of War clasps you good-naturedly and with excessive strength on the back. Come, you must regale me with all that your journey has held. I could use a moment of respite between friends. He regards you with a warm, boisterous smile. Speak as you wish. I'd pay a boar's weight in rings to know your thoughts. He rakes a hand through his thick, red beard and offers you a grin. Come, let us speak freely. How were you singled out to become a Fatebinder? I cannot speak for the other Fatebinders, but I joined the court when I was yet still a boy and impetuous beyond reason. I had been imprisoned with a death sentence for the crime of desecrating corpses. He laughs hard and hearty. It was nothing so exciting as you're no doubt imagining. I was merely burning corpses that awaited burial. Before the local authority could see me to the gallows, the adjudicator claimed me a great talent waiting to be realized, needing only to be steered. Why burn the bodies? Corpses piling in the streets spread plague faster than the filthiest of rats. I was but 10 and a weak fighter. I did what I could for my homeland. Why was it a crime? There was a time when even the Northmen were superstitious stock. A time before Kairos brought reason to the realms. The people of my city believed that, without proper rites, I was cheating our fallen warriors from returning to the land. It's a good thing Tunon spared you. As I have said, the adjudicator saw within me something of rare value, as is true for us all. You as well were chosen for our great court, for which I am grateful. As the Fatebinder of War, I rely heavily on your talents. I'm curious about Tunon's masks. They can be rather unsettling, can't they? Even to one such as me. But I can assure you, the innocent need not fear their objective, emotionless gaze. What of the adjudicator's mask specifically would you like to know? I want to know about the Silent Face. The Silent Face is the face that Tunon shows to us now, and for that we are fortunate beyond belief. The Silent Face is a patient face, a face for listening, as Tunon presides over all matters brought to the court, taking great pains to ensure all sides of an issue are heard. I want to know about the Face of Resolve. Tunon's last known donning of the Face of Resolve was the moment he judged and called ruin to half of the districts in the Bastard City. Since then he has ruled our northern tier justly, calmly, and with efficient diplomacy. I want to know about the Face that is no more. Tunon is said to have worn a third mask in aeons past. I have heard rumor that the Face displeased Kairos and thus was destroyed, as happens to all persons and objects that displease our overlord. Have you ever seen Tunon change his masks? In the way that you or I would change our raiment? No, not as much. And yet I have seen the masks shift. They switch without the adjudicator or anyone so much as laying a hand on them. It's not something you can watch unfold. After a time, you merely realize it has already happened. Could you remind me of the history and origin of the Fatebinders? The seasoned warrior rubs a finger against the line of stubble along his cheek. We are a relatively young order, though we have spanned these past 2 centuries. While the voices of Nerat and Graven Ash need armies to execute their will, Tunon wields but a modest court of vassals. We exist as the extension of his law. There is no place in all of Terratis beyond our judgment. Tell me more about Kairos' armies, our allies. Ah yes, with friends like these, our work is often self-explanatory. Were you asking about the Scarlet Chorus or the Disfavored? The Scarlet Chorus. Scarlet Chorus soldiers hail from every corner of every realm. As the chorus marches, it conscripts indiscriminately from those it has conquered to replenish its ranks. There's no continuity of command in the chorus. Nerat allows, encourages even, the strong to challenge their leaders. But the chorus has numbers, and brute force is almost always a viable solution, much as Rogulus insists otherwise. Besides, the Scarlet Chorus draws strength from the multitudes it swallows. Its blood chanters have taken knowledge from various tiers mystics, and many of the chorus's best soldiers were grown here in the south. And the Disfavored? The Disfavored are the iron tip of Kairos' great phalanx, armed with the best weapons, the most comprehensive training, and led by the brilliant Graven Ash. The Disfavored have no equals in open battle. The Legion has a saying, Graven Ash protects, and it's no empty boast. The Archon of War is able to lend his will and strength to his soldiers and give them endurance beyond human limits. I have great respect for the Disfavored, but I know where I stand with them. They are a very close-knit band, all of them from northern families, many of them related to each other. Nunavor sighs, his smile wistful. But considering our role in the great hierarchy, I can't fault General Ash for being selective. Nice, it's good to get to know your coworkers, I think. Very important. I'm trying to create a comfortable working environment. Didn't think I'd make it out of that pass alive. You've done well for the Legion, Fatebinder.
Can't do that.
Sevius. Anything beats a prolonged siege, eh, Fatebinder? Enjoy the war while you can. Albatronus. Fatebinder. The lieutenant gives you a curt nod. I'm ill at ease in this polished hall, but I admit it's a reprieve from the battlefield and training grounds. If Ash needs me to stay here and represent his interests throughout the occupation, then I'll be up to the task. Let's see what the Scarleties have to say. He ignores you with a stern and distant expression. Blood mulch. Fatebinder, you're no stranger to Tunon's court, but I prefer to spend as little time here as possible. In spite of these closed walls, I feel strangely exposed. He glances up at Tunon. Fair warning. When you backed Ash, you were as good as signing your death warrant, but we shouldn't discuss such matters in a court of law. You'll make our time in the Tears an interesting one, won't you? He smiles for an uncomfortably long time. Of course you will. I gained favor. You made us plenty comfortable in Lethian's Crossing, didn't you? He winks. It was nice to rest a spell and focus on local concerns for a change. Having a brothel on hand didn't hurt either. Yeah, they should like me. I'd immolate you right where you stand if it weren't for Tunon breathing down our necks. Step into my office, baby. The ornament atop the throne resembles Tunon's mask. It always seems to meet your gaze, regardless of where you're standing.
This civil war, this feud, is an insult to Kairos' peace. It should not have taken the better part of a year to silence the last vestiges of the Oathbreakers.
Tunon regards you in thoughtful silence. Say nothing.
Our allies squabble while our enemies regroup. It falls upon the court to measure the extent of the damage, and to execute the agents of disorder. I suspect that treachery, negligence, disunity, and greed have infected one or both of our esteemed allies. Until you are instructed otherwise, this matter is the court's primary focus. Graven Ash and the voices of Nerat must be examined in close detail. You are charged with observing the Archons and presenting your case that one of them has wrought chaos and disorder upon the Tears.
I'm not going to say anything, even though he seems to not like that.
As always, you will be held accountable for what you do in the court's name, but you are free to conduct your investigation in the manner of your choosing. You must expect lies, misdirection, and manipulation. Suffer not such obstructions of justice. The disfavored seem the logical first step in your inquiry. The Legion holds you in some esteem, and Graven Ash has shown deference to the court in times past. No doubt the disfavored will be rife with accusations and evidence against the voices of Nerat. Graven Ash is a noble man, but never underestimate his capacity for deception. A wise general succeeds by knowing when to be unreadable to the enemy. You should, of course, speak with the Scarlet Chorus and gather their testimony, but it stands to reason that most in the chorus would sooner brag about a pauldron fashioned from your skull than entertain your questions. Do not regret killing the rabble that impede your investigation. They will be easily replaced.
I'll speak with the Archon of War.
Your fellow Fatebinders have been busy acting as my eyes and ears. I have a few leads for you to follow. You should, of course, speak with your brothers and sisters of the court if you need further counsel. The Scarlet Chorus leader in Plainsgate is set on taking the disfavored's holdings with lethal force. Rumors of aggressive chorus posturing are commonplace, but if you are in the Stone Sea, it would be wise to investigate. The Oathbreakers were reported to be using iron armaments, more than they might acquire from looting what few disfavored they killed. Any iron in the Tears not rusted through was made by forge-bound hands in Lethian's Crossing. Between craftsman and quartermaster, someone let iron fall into enemy hands. Investigate this matter and bring the thieves to justice.
I've heard that iron tools were actually very hard to make. It's a lot harder than bronze. Like, you needed very special knowledge, so that's not actually a fantastical thing. It's just like a normal historical thing.
There is a final matter to discuss. A sensitive topic.
Though it's impossible to gauge from his expression, Tunon seems more wary than usual. Say nothing.
In spite of the many shortcomings at Vendrian's Well, you managed to make a name for yourself. You proclaimed an Edict of Kairos, resolved its demanding conditions, and ascended the mountain spire.
Yes, so that's all true.
Any one of these feats would be worthy of recognition by the highest authority. You managed to accomplish 3.
Tunon hovers in observance, awaiting a response. I was only doing my job, Your Honor.
Your sense of obligation to your role is admirable, but modesty will not recommend you to the task ahead. Whether by design or by accident, you have captured the attention of Kairos' army and the local tiersmen alike. This is no small opportunity, and the court charges you with exploiting your new standing to its fullest potential. You have a title in our hierarchy. However, it's a little-known secret that one's standing in the world is determined by their infamy, their deeds, and how they come to be known. Mind this notion as you bring justice to this lawless frontier. There may come a time when your deeds speak for you louder than any title.
I mean, we are the bad guys, right? This guy's obviously evil. He even sounds evil.
Whatever you did to capture the attention of the masses at Vendrian's Well, I would encourage you to do so again.
Excuse me? I don't really like any of these answers. Chaining chaos to my will. Great deeds will define me.
You begin to understand. Whether your acts are favorable or heinous, it falls to you to bring greatness to this campaign. You are dismissed. Should the court have need of your presence, you will receive word. Go forth and do my bidding, and bring glory and honor to the tears in Kairos' name.
Tunon raps his gavel against the floor, the singular note resounding throughout the hall. You could have just said bye.
Right.
I'm gonna be like deaf for a week. Can I talk to him more? I know you told me to leave, but you return. It is gratifying to see that the war has not caused you to forget your roots. What is it you wish to know? Tell me about Kairos. Kairos is our overlord. She ushers us from the brink of chaos with a stern hand, and gestures to the way of peace. We are only too eager to follow in her perfect example. How old is Kairos? By our reckoning, her age upon Terratis is magnificent. Her true span defies measurement by our limited construct of time. It would be a waste to spend our few pitiable years attempting to solve that riddle of existence. Think of Kairos not as subject to beginnings or endings. Kairos is, and Kairos will ever be. Not gonna get much info of this guy. What is your relationship to Kairos? She is my master, and I her dutiful pupil. In this respect, you and I are no different. I have the honor of Kairos' confidence. She trusts me to enact her law upon the boundless territory of her rule. I am only too grateful to serve. I am the voice of Kairos' will, the harbinger of her judgment, and the arm of her justice. I couldn't help but notice that you refer to Kairos as a woman. Oh, he did not like that. Beware of that trajectory of thought. Save for her perfection, there is little about Kairos to which we could ascribe recognizable attributes. A power as distant and unknowable as the Overlord should transcend our petty dualities. Male, female, it makes no difference. Kairos is mother to us all. Okay, let me ask you about something else. Ask, but be cautious with your time. The tears do not rest. They do when the game's paused, though. Tell me about Bledenmark. He is my headsman and an assassin without equal. His official designation in Kairos' hierarchy is the Archon of Shadows, though I wonder that he ever considers himself aught but a slayer of the unjust. How did he earn his title? His work away from the court takes Bledenmark to the dark places of the world, the Tears and Northern Empire alike. Over time, Shadows became his dominion. They cloak him, protect him, and even fight for him if the need arises. Does Bledenmark serve you alone? Oh, it is said that Bledenmark can travel to any place where shadows are cast. Only he would know this for certain. Does Bledenmark serve you alone? Your question is flawed. We are all servants of Kairos. The Archons are also agents of their own interests. Those chosen few empowered to bring order to the world in accordance with Kairos' peace. At present, Bledenmark is my vassal, and I his patron. The relationship is not so different from Graven Ash and Cairn, the fallen Archon, or the voices of Nerat and his songbird Siren. Me? The vassal of that psychotic monster? Even if I was still working with him, it would be as a peer, not an underling. Siren keeps her voice low, ensuring Tunon doesn't overhear her comments. Such partnerings and apprenticeships are common. They provide mutual benefit to the Archons involved, as well as a measure of oversight. I'm curious about you, Archon. Curiosity is not a trait that I encourage in my servants. Too often have I witnessed such activity leading down a path to lawlessness. Doesn't he literally want me to investigate this war, though? However, if you feel that a better understanding of me will inform your work, then I will allow it. What would you know? Tell me about your rise to become adjudicator. Curb your ambition, student. My path to this dais is not one that could be replicated under any circumstances. However, if your curiosity is determined, I will tell you my story. My sage friend here will add it to his chronicle, that others might learn from it. Ooh, loyalty and favor. Why, yes, I would be most honored. Nitro grabs his largest quill and pulls out a fresh sheet of parchment. The first time you've ever seen him not start a note on the back of a prior work in progress. I came into the world centuries ago, before the dream of a unified Northern Empire was fully realized. My home country lay far from the borders of Kairos' realm, and our conquest was a matter of distant speculation. Decades before rumor of Kairos' approach grew in panicked volume, I familiarized myself with the intricacies of her law. It took me no time at all to realize the benefits of our inevitable subjugation. I took it upon myself to rise in my country's governance as an arbiter of law and drafter of covenants, building some notoriety for my execution of fair justice. As my influence and the trust of my people evolved, my decisions transcended to define future precedent. Go on. What my countrymen could not have surmised was that I had woven into our customs the very backbone of Kairos' law. I set the stage for the conquest of our floundering nation to join the Overlord's empire. By the time the Overlord's armies presented themselves and offered terms of surrender, we had adopted Kairos' peace in all but name. Our absorption into the Northern Empire was a matter of legal formality, negligible changes to our already beloved document of law. The people credited me as the architect of peace, and for a time called me Tunon the Fair. As my importance grew in their estimate, Kairos could not help but learn of the part I played in her bloodless victory. Kairos' law has a breadth of intricacies that is unapproachable to the masses. I was chosen to interpret and represent the Overlord's will across the Northern Empire and beyond, this time as adjudicator. It is my pride, my duty, my life. What does it mean to be an Archon? I am a figure of power and significance, and under Kairos' mandate, I am able to exercise my authority for the benefit of all. Had I not earned the Overlord's approval, I would not stand tall before you. Could anyone become an Archon? Absolutely not. Only a precious few grow into this authority. Were it otherwise, Terratus would descend into pandemonium. Of those few who rise into power, fewer still have the self-control to make lawful use of their talents. And of those who can, fewer still are deemed worthy of Kairos' approval. Did you come into power yourself, or did Kairos foster your talents? An astute question. Doubtless I exhibited some spark of potential on my own, insignificant, though enough to accomplish deeds of note. Only under Kairos' tutelage have I grown to these heights. Is every Archon subservient to Kairos? All are subservient before Kairos, but I intuit your meaning. The Overlord takes great pains to recognize potential. Before an Archon comes into their power, they will have faced the harshest scrutiny by an agent of recruitment, if not Bleedin' Mark himself. Those who are found worthy of incredible deeds, but refuse to join their strength to the needs of the Empire, are doomed to die. Those who wish to make a name for themselves are invited into the fold, to serve and rule the needs of the Empire. That is the price of power in Kairos' hierarchy. What's the deal with your mask? Did you come up with the Office of Fatebinders? Indirectly, yes. Just as I am the representative of Kairos' law across Terratus, you are the face of my judgment for the people. I took inspiration from the Overlord's example, as we all should. The people needed an approachable face to settle their grievances, and I am not available to adjudicate on every sharecropper's dispute. The Fatebinders were an inevitable solution. Why is curiosity such a problem? Because my vassals are not selected for their independent thought. For their independence of thought. You are an agent of law, the execution of which falls within strict confines. I guess that makes sense. Your intellect may aid the tasks ahead of you, but your unwavering obedience is of greater value to me. I'm not going to piss off my boss. I understand, Archon. See, he likes it. Be sure that you do. I get the sense he's not the kind of guy who likes snarky comments. I wish to speak about matters of law. Then you are well situated, for my court is the legal heart of this corrupt and uncivilized realm. What matters draw your curiosity? You are already well versed in Kairos' laws, but I am happy to discuss the particulars. I wish to discuss Kairos' peace, the cornerstone of our wartime efforts, of course. Kairos' peace guarantees all willing supplicants under the Overlord's authority a place in her world. The exact wording of the bylaw is, your life is not yours to discard. The Overlord has plans for you. This extends to several spheres of influence. Among others, it grants protection to enemies who surrender in a time of war, and it forbids suicide. To dispense with the Overlord's vassal and property is prohibited. Oh great, we're all property. Remind me how the Overlord's name may be used. It is not forbidden to cross one's tongue with Kairos' name, but it behooves one to use caution and respect. The Overlord's name is not yours to give, whether to progeny, product, location, or abstraction. Slander of the Overlord is punishable by death. There is only one Kairos, and her name is safeguarded. No one may say Kairos and have it obfuscated by a second meaning. Neither will her name be associated to trivialities. A gambler will not attribute his fortune to Kairos' luck, or his misfortune to Kairos' scorn. Such an association lowers the Overlord in the public estimate, and is rightly considered slander most foul. So I guess everyone isn't just naming their kids Kairos this year, then. Definitely no Troy. Let us discuss the old walls. The old walls are forbidden, as are their contents and their denizens. Owning any item from the old walls is considered trespass, regardless of how it came into your possession. Mind that in the course of your travels. As the old walls extend across much of the tiers and Northern Empire alike, Kairos permits her servants to pass only where she has sculpted the landscape to permit traverse. Under no circumstances are you to enter a breach in the old walls, even for a task as innocent as crossing to the other side. Did I technically go into one when I went to the tower? I think I technically did. We're just not going to mention that. If these restrictions seem too severe, I would remind you that they are for the protection of Kairos' subjects. The Overlord has no desire to see harm needlessly inflicted upon her loyal followers. Remind me of the magician's folly. Practitioners of the arcane arts must be sanctioned, which is like sanctioned, but it's when you shank them at the same time. Must be sanctioned by one of Kairos' guilds, such as the Blood Chanters or Forgebound. Rogue magicians with a tenuous grasp of unknown powers will not be tolerated. Like apostates? A sanctioned mage whose spell casting causes damage to life or property is lawfully deemed innocent. As long as they practice their art in the service of Kairos, all is forgiven. Let's speak of quotas and sharing. We're getting to all the fun stuff today. The harvest blooms and blights by the will of Kairos. In times of lean, you will be fed. In times of wealth, you will feed others. This law is a sizable category unto itself, serving many needs at once, trade and tax being only two examples. The broadest intent of the law is to empower Kairos' subjects to care for their neighbor and expect care in return. You might take note of the law's application to trade. A merchant's right to peddle their wares is defined by permits granted annually. The regional authority has the right to decide if a merchant sells cabbage one year and sandals the next. Anyone breaking through their restrictions is subject to immediate forfeiture of all assets. Are they communists? They sound kind of like communists. I mean, it's a dictatorship. The state controls all trade. Although there does still seem to be like a class hierarchy, so maybe communism isn't, at least in spirit, it's not quite communism. You need not concern yourself over the nuances, at least until they apply to this contested realm in a time of peace. Listen, if I want to be concerned about the nuances and the annoyances, I'm curious about the restrictions on forbidden knowledge. Kairos herself sets the standards of what can and cannot be known. These restrictions are rarely enforced, but they are worth taking into account. During the war, for example, Kairos deemed the knowledge of the Vellum Citadel taboo. No one may possess the wisdom of that fallen repository, save Kairos herself. Calling it all taboo seems a bit like overkill, but to play Kairos' advocate, the world would hardly be safer if all had access to the lore of making poisons, or the art of arming brigands in fine bronze. This is for the protection of her subjects. Before the coming of Kairos, during the ages of anarchy and discord, powerful knowledge in undeserving hands leveled empires without thought or mercy. Kairos has no desire to revisit those dark times. Well, how would we know that if Kairos controls all the information? Like, what if everything was just perfectly peaceful before Kairos, and we just have Kairos' word that it wasn't? And also, they're saying that the tiers were, like, constantly at war with each other, which makes sense. Like, they were. But I can't help but wonder if that's because of Kairos. Like if you know that there is this super powerful empire out there that's taking over the world, then it's not really going to people are going to be more open to acts of war and like hostility than to just be like kumbaya and hold hands and stuff. And it's possible Kairos was even inciting those wars, like maybe trying to get them to fight each other so that they would be easier to conquer, and also give her this self-justification that, like, oh, I'm coming as a savior to save you. It's very suspect. Am I beholden to these? I'm not going to ask that question. I think it's obvious. Yeah, that's it. Can I break the law whenever I want? Okay. Good chat, boss. Ooh, quest completed. What is my new quest? Oh, I got a missive. On the subject of the spires. Why would he send me a letter? I'm literally right here. Dear Rhombus, your tone seems so cold, distant, and distrustful. It's almost like you've been paying attention all these years. Yes, I knew I learned about the wording of the edict, and while I did not advocate that you be sent, I did not disagree. Like it or not, you are young, fit... Oh, sorry, no, I'm doing the wrong voice. Rogulus is the other guy. He's not the bearded guy. Yes, I knew I learned about the wording of the edict, and while I did not advocate that you be sent, I did not disagree. Like it or not, you are young, fit, and entirely self-sufficient. You should be flattered to be trusted for the honor of proclamation. I am asking about your experience because it's not every day that someone breaks an edict, let alone awaken a spire. If I had some insight into your experience, perhaps I could shed light on what happened, or get you in touch with someone who could. Should I trust Fatebinder Rogulus? We've almost unlocked his favor. Almost. So I feel like we should just go for it. Explain the experience as best as you can. Dear Rogulus, Kairos' edict simply said that an agent of the Overlord must claim Ascension Hall before Kairos' Day of Swords. The only thing I consciously did was take charge of the battle to claim Ascension Hall. My claiming of the spire happened just moments after I felt the edict's grip release. The floor of Ascension Hall gave way, unearthing a glowing pattern buried beneath the chamber floor. Kairos only knows how long it's been buried under the tile. As for how I actually claim the spire, it is perhaps a mutual bond. Atop the spire is an old structure, a twin-tined edifice. I'll include a sketch on the back of the parchment. This structure spoke to me in sensations and images. It seems to respond to my presence in some limited capacity. That is what happened as best as I can think to describe it. Does any of this sound familiar or bring to mind any old stories or rumors? I want to see what the other option is. It's a polite refusal, so it's not that bad. Wait, where is it? Dear Rogulus, you seem to think I've learned nothing from my time in court. Whatever I tell you will just be used against me later. You'll have to settle for the written equivalent of a blank stare, which is my go-to move. That is my move. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. You know, we don't want to be too buddy-buddy with these people. Gotta have some secrets. Besides, if he knows how to activate the spires, he might try to use them for himself. Also, he's working for the bad guys. So, you know, if I have any hope of doing good, I can't help them too much. Oh shit. Bleeding Mark. Welcome back, kid. Amusing as it would have been to watch the edict drop, I guess I'm glad you lived. Bleeding Mark, Archon of Shadows, rouses from a faraway stare, turning to face you with a wry smile. Though he stands still, he seems to sift in and out of the shadows that shroud him. Here you threw your rings on Graven Ash's side. Not a bad bet to pick the Archon of War. But tell me the truth. Did you go to Ash because it seemed like the right thing to do? Because supporting the voices was a worse option? Oh, Archon of the Elderly, that's such a burn. That's such a burn, I want to do it, but I'm just going to stick with my go-to move, Glare Silently. Oh, he likes that. I like this guy. Ah, silence. The first recourse when you've got something to hide. Now, I assume you're off to go meet with Ash, but first, you and I have to have a little chat. Gonna keep glaring. Everyone's keeping an eye on you because you did something nobody has done before. Got a guess as to what that might be? I'm the first person to take an evasive stance against your rhetorical questions. I want to be that character, but that's just not my character. I'm the first Fatebinder character to decide to promote to some position of authority? No. I'm just going to glare silently, as is my move. What? You want to know what makes you so important, kid? Kairos has issued a lot of edicts over the centuries, and so far as I know it, the Overlord always picks an agent to proclaim the words and complete the casting of the edict. Proclaiming an edict isn't new. Neither is surviving or resolving the commandments of an edict. But you're the first to proclaim and resolve the very same edict, and it didn't kill you. In one fell swoop, you survived your second edict, resolved the very one you had proclaimed, and awoke an arcane structure that had slept for several centuries. Gonna keep glaring silently. I don't care what you do with the information, but you should know the danger you're in now that you've put yourself on the map. Sticking with the disfavored is a smart idea, kid. At least smarter than getting mixed up with the Archon of Secrets. You'll never really be one of them, but if you value Ash's warriors, they'll serve you best they can. I do want to ask more questions. Wait, there's still so much I want to ask you. Not now. Try me somewhere with fewer prying eyes and listening ears. Until the next. The Archon of Shadows shrugs to you in farewell, but his golden eyes are alight with interest as he watches you.
On it.
Can I just talk to you? How about a little breathing room, kid? Yeah, everybody's interested in me. I'm the main character of an RPG. We've established that. It's not really news. Okay, so where am I supposed to go? What are my quests again? Okay. I don't know where any of the other spires are, so... Trial of Archons. Tunon is displeased with the chaos that emerged from Vendrian as well, and believes that one of the warring Archons may be principally responsible for the civil war that now grips the Tiers. As you travel the younger realms, take note of any evidence of negligence, incompetence, or outright treason found within the disfavored or scarlet chorus. Okay, so the disfavored were ineffectual at getting Cairn, the Archon of Stone, to follow orders. Oh, I'm gonna have to actually solve a crime, I guess. Well, sort of. I should probably pay attention to this stuff. So yes, Cairn did betray Kairos, and Cairn was technically working with the disfavored. All uncovered evidence. Okay, the voices of Narat consumed Graven Ash's imprisoned son during the siege of Vendrian's well. The voice of Narat wanted the forge-bound master taken from Tunon's care and sent to him. Oh yeah, I forgot he sent me that letter. Can I talk to him about that? Yeah, I didn't really understand that letter. But it's possible the voices in Narat suspected Graven Ash of treason, and that's why they imprisoned his son. That was to get like info about him. We'll see. Into the Maelstrom. The War of the Archons has begun. Support Graven Ash's initial attempts to pacify the tears. Meet Graven Ash at Ironhearth. Okay. I want to read that letter again. Oh, did I unlock something? Oh, Ebb is loyalty. Wow, she really liked me giving her permission. Lifted into the sky, Ebb then radiates moonlight, healing allies and harming enemies. Wow. That's incredibly powerful. What should I do? Am I all suited up? Oh yeah, I wanted to read that letter again. House seal. You recognize it from the merchant house, hand over quill. When did I get this? I don't remember this. Already said that. Yeah, just to send armor making lady to me, and there's a picture of him in front of a smith. Smith is tied together, and the chorus soldiers are okay. I'm sure that will come up later. There's no merchants here, is there? No. Oops. Am I going to go to these places later? I mean, I guess there's nowhere to go but here. Been everywhere else. Wasn't he saying that I was supposed to go to Lethian's Crossing, though? Yeah, he said I had to go to Lethian's Crossing, but he didn't say what I was going to do there. And I don't have it as a... what's it called? Is this a new area? No, that's just where I was, where I accessed the... Yeah, he did say I had to go here. But I can't remember why. It's in my journal. Or maybe that's for later. Yeah, I think he wants... I think it let me choose what my next quest was going to be, and I think this is the one I chose, so that's probably why. Let's go then. 2 days to get there. Oh, I could rest at the spire first, right? They'd be on the way. I think I should. Should I? Yes. I don't think there's anything going to be there that I haven't already seen, so yeah. Go here, I'll rest, get the bonus, maybe do some upgrades, and then we'll go. Better to err on the side of caution. What does this do? You feel as if your reach has broadened. You can feel the push and pull of your influence growing throughout the tiers. If you concentrate, it would appear you can begin the same trance that showed you glimpses of the previous spire. Oh. Touch the resonator and concentrate. Once more you touch the sculpture. Once more your mind is flooded with sensation. This time of your senses leaving your body and floating up, higher even than the mountain spire, until all of Terratus is beneath your feet. From high above you see the mystic currents moving about Terratus, billowing clouds of every color that churn above the realms. Even from this far away vantage point, the cyclones and currents of magic fill you with dread and foreboding. Send your senses toward the mystic currents. As you near the mystic currents, you hear inchoate voices, commands, proclamations, the stuff of edicts. All across Terratus, the edicts of Kairos, some centuries old, still live on, their arcane signatures bright as the midday sun, seeming stronger than the day they were proclaimed. As your senses float away from the arcane turbulence, you're struck by the fact that land untouched by edicts appears to be in the minority. Even lands long ago conquered by Kairos are still haunted by edicts, whether because they still linger from the olden days of conquest, or if they were cast more recently to suppress his rebellion. Does that sentence make sense to you? Your senses cannot glean. Struck with the fact that land untouched by edicts appears to be in the minority. Oh, it's okay, so it's saying that all the lands have this edict magic around it. Whether they still linger from the olden days of conquest or if they were cast more recently to suppress rebellion. Okay. That's good info. So you can see the deep ashen clouds surrounding the burning library. This fire pit burns with the embers that give off an ethereal glow. Looking into the flame, you feel you can see glimpses of distorted faces. That's not good. Oh, I got a message back. Rhombus, you insufferable upstart. How dare you take my sermons on cynicism to heart? I expect you stupid youngsters to ignore me, not to actually listen to my wisdom. You're threatening the whole social order of things. Perhaps it's best you say little to me on these matters. Better you speak with the Honorable Fatebinder Meothis, though I suppose Binder Emeritus is a more apt title, as she's free of official duties and idles her days in an estate up north, far from the war, far from watchful eyes. I am one of the few to whom she will speak, with my blessing, and if you curtail your attitude, she might share what she knows with you. On the reverse of this parchment, you'll find instructions to contact Meothis. I encourage you to open up about the edict and your experience within the spire. There's much you need to learn. Yeah, he's not happy about that. Did I get a new quest though? Okay, so I have to send a letter to Meothis. 500 rings. Try a polite one. Dear Fatebinder Meothis, I write to you at the urging of my peer and tutor, Fatebinder Rogulus. He's found himself bereft of answers, a rare condition for him, I suggest you may be the only source of the answers I seek. If you will pardon the imposition, it would mean a great deal to learn what you know of Kairos' edicts and the magic of the spires. The mountain spire of the Tears is awoken to my presence, an event that occurred moments after I resolved an edict of Kairos, so it's critical that I learn just what has happened to me and what it all means. I thank you in advance for your consideration and wisdom. Should I do a brass? Do I have enough rings? I think I do, because I think these are, I think it just means copper rings. So if 100 copper rings is just 5 bronze rings, then, or rather 500 rings is actually just 5 bronze, then it might be a good idea. I don't know. Here's the brash one. Fatebinder Meothis. I am Fatebinder Rhombus, and I'm currently serving in the Tears. I recently broke an edict of Kairos, and in roughly the same breath awoke the latent energies in the mountain spire of the Tears. When I told my old mentor Rogulus of these events, he insisted I contact you, hinting that your wisdom exceeds his own. If that's true, I'd be a fool not to heed the advice of someone more worldly than even Rogulus. But I know knowledge is power, and power isn't free. I've enclosed a hand of rings as tuition and tribute, a paltry offering for a respected teacher, but it is a sizable sum to me. Thank you for your consideration. I eagerly await your reply. I kind of like that option the best. Fatebinder Meothis. My name is Rhombus, and I recently resolved Kairos' edict of execution and claimed the mountain spire of the Tears. I am now the master of Vendrian's Well, and a question mark to many that seems awaken the spire. Wait, what? I am now the master of Vendrian's Well, and a question mark to many, as it seems awaken the spire has shocked everyone. That doesn't make sense. They really need an editor. Rogulus said you were wise and knowledgeable in matters best not discussed in front of the Archons. I seem to have stumbled into ownership of the spire and feel I should learn all that I can about this monument that is not my own. If you will be forthcoming with your knowledge, I promise you will be rewarded when the time comes to show gratitude to the loyal. I'm gonna send the money, assuming I can afford it. Okay. Wait, did it take my rings? Did it take my rings? I have no change in my rings. Is it gonna wait until it actually gets it? Which means if I spend the rings before then, will I not lose them? I don't understand. Maybe it's a glitch. It's probably a glitch. They were like, nobody's gonna choose this option, so we don't need to check it. Alright, let's rest. For 8 hours. Gee willikers. Anything new to say? The spire allows for such long and uninterrupted view. Barrick glances over the edge with hesitation and then shivers. I find restraint and limitations more to my liking, though it is nice to feel a breeze running through these plates of solid rust. It might be a good idea to bring him because he's disfavored. They are the disfavored. Tomato, tomato. It might be a good idea to bring him.
You look as if you have something on your mind. By all means.
Placing his weapon to his side, Barrick salutes you. The joints of his armor groan in protest.
What can I do for you?
Suit up, Barrick. We're leaving.
If you would have me travel at your side, then I am not opposed to seeing more of this degenerate realm. Onward.
Oh. And if I'm bringing him, I feel like I should also bring What's-Her-Face, because he clearly has the hots for her. Oh, it's so hard to choose. So hard to choose because I want to have everyone in the party. And she's my killer and my rogue. Yeah, I'm gonna have a rogue if I'm not bringing her.
Goodbye to you too.
He's kind of a rogue though, so. Oh, but I like Siren more. She's cool. And the other thing is, if the more I split up the parties, the less likely I am to get their loyalties. Or their wrath or fear or whatever it is, but... Oh, he has all the healing magic. And she doesn't. Maybe if I could get her some of the healing magic? Nah. It's a tough choice. I think I'm just gonna bring Varric. As much as I want to see him flirt with her. Oh yeah, and he and Verse are brother and sister, which I also totally forgot about. And I kind of want to see the two of them. Oh man. I kind of want to see the two of them, you know, banter. Oh, I might as well level them up first. Just go all in for might. And then his abilities. Oh yeah, save. What did he have for abilities? He didn't have very good stuff. This one isn't so good because my main guy's supposed to be the... whatchamacallit, he's supposed to be the tank. This might be good. Powerful multi-hit that dazes, stuns, and sunders the opponent. That's probably the best one. Rune place gaining immunity to push and prone effects and a large boost to endurance at the cost of the ability to move. That's more of a tanky thing, I think. Yeah, let's do this. Oh, I have more points. Bonus experience is pretty good. This is passive, right? Yeah, that could be good. Gain the bonus to might and resolve until combat ends. That's when his health is critical. This is a passive thing. Again, this is a tanky thing for each enemy engaging Barrack. Gains a bonus to any damage he deals. Damn. Maybe I should be switching to these. Maybe I should be doing more of these. Bonus to armor. Engage additional enemy. These are all passive stuff. They really just wanted him to be a tank. Okay, fine. Maybe having two tanks can't be that bad. In which case I think I want this one. Already got that one. This one and this one. Yeah, that should be good. Forgot I gave him like an ability, I think. Oh, I think it was this one. Oh yeah, it only works with one-handed weapons, I think, for some stupid reason. Oh no, it works with shields. Yeah, so stupid. It should just give him more versatility. Like everything he does has to be tanky. But oh well. But oh well. Save. Did I not save this? So in that case, maybe I will give him a little bit more vitality. And maybe I'll switch him. Maybe I will give him a shield. Except I don't actually have a shield to give him. Okay, I'll give him this shield. He's not going to need... Actually, which one would he need more? This is Pierce, 19 and 27, so 3.65 damage. This is less damage. Let's slash and pierce though. Okay, so I'll give him slash in addition. This is 4.95. This one is 3.03, so I'll give him this one. Oh, it's a great axe. I want him to have the great axe. It's so much cooler. Okay. We'll give him a great axe instead of the spear. And then I also need some kind of one-handed thing. Guess all I have is this. It doesn't really matter as long as he's... It's a great spear. This is... Okay, small axe, nobody needs something else. He needs piercing. Just in case. And I'll give him the shield. I guess you can have this spear. This is 3.46. So I think the spear is probably the best. I'll have to do. Since he has to have a shield. That looks so bad. That looks so bad, but I don't have any non... Okay, well maybe I should give him the spear then. Even though the axe looks cooler, I'll give him the spear. And give you the axe. And you can have the spear. Yeah, that looks good. And then you can use an axe as your secondary. Right, this is better. DPS, oh yeah, this is way better. DPS, less accuracy though. But if he's gonna be tanking, that's not as important. Ooh, merchant's boots, when did I get these? Some more recovery. Should she use these maybe? Oh, she's already wearing them. Yeah, I think I'll go for the recovery. Oh, I got iron boots. I already have them equipped though, and he can't equip anything. Okay. Anything else? Does he have items equipped? I think he should be okay. The question is, do I bring Verse along instead of Siren? What skills does she have? She has a bit of subterfuge. Does he oh, he doesn't. No, he must have said no. He has 72 subterfuge. So he's actually pretty good as a sneak. Okay, well, perhaps these are questions better left for another time, as I think I am going to switch games to some Fortnite, as I think my family is on. Detect and manipulate hidden traps and devices and open locked chests and doors. Oh, it's also used for deception. That's cool. So I could theoretically use him instead of, or use Verse instead of him. I mean, it is nice that he has all the magic, but if I have 2 tanks, I won't necessarily need healing as much. What spells does he have? And I could... Well, I can give healing wisps to... What's his name? Yeah, he has enough for this. And she also has Restoring Touch. It's not as powerful as his, but... Yeah, I definitely don't need crazy amounts of healing. So maybe I could get Verse, actually, but I think actually maybe instead of Verse, I think I'd probably rather have this lady, Ebb.
I'm working on my impression of you.
Oh.
Trying to capture your silent interrogation routine.
Oh.
How am I doing?
Ebb glares at you, her jaw thrust, eyes furrowed. For a long moment, she looks at you with great intensity, eyebrows twitching, her nostrils flaring with each exaggerated exhale. They're starting. See, this is why I was going for the just glare silently move. That's just my move, you know. Tricking me. I'm just gonna glare silently.
My point exactly.
I'm glad that the game picked up on that.
What is it you need?
Grab your things, I've needed your skills.
Of course. It's about time to stretch the old sea legs.
I will return to our holdfast at once.
Yeah, I wonder... It would be good to have like a more serious spellcaster in the party. Oh, and she leveled up. But actually her lore is not that great. She has more spell slots, but her lore is not that much better than mine even. So I think actually it's probably worth more to have Verse. So I'm gonna add Verse to the party just before I forget.
At your service, Fatebinder.
Verse bows and added Flourish.
What do you need? I suppose I'd hate to deprive you. Let's be off.
I just like Verse more.
I'll tack homeward. See you there.
She's interesting. Or maybe instead of Siren. Yeah, maybe instead of Siren.
I will meet you at the spire.
Maybe Verse. And Ebb.
No
So
doubt
I've got
this'll prove interesting.
2 tanks, magic offense, and just damage offense. I think it'll do.
I see as the...
Okay. Before you finish that statement, Verse, we're gonna switch games. Yes.
Crow flies.
Okay, so give me 1 second. So we're gonna play some Fortnite. I should switch my category before I forget. And we're gonna get some crowns, I hope.